is silent, every grain of sand. He is silent. It's the voices of.
Mic test 1 2 1 2. Hello, anybody home? Hi Desmond. Desmond, can you hear my voice loud and clear? Just now was having some issues. Lie again. Is it very soft also? Kevin? Master Kevin? Desmond say yes. Is yes soft or yes loud and clear? Yes to what? See this island. Perfect voice. Thank you. All right. So today, first of all, by the way, I will restart the whole thing because just now that video I deleted already. So first of all, happy birthday to Singapore. This weekend we're gonna celebrate. Singapore is gonna celebrate 60th birthday. So happy birthday, Singapore. And then these 2 weeks, I've been hearing a lot of people, a lot of followers, a lot of friends. They've been telling me that they were saying, some people saying that Singapore got no meridian spots. There's no meridian in Singapore. So yeah, it gets me wondering. These people that mentioned that, do they really know Singapore? If there's no meridian in Singapore, then how did Singapore succeeded since in the 3rd century when it's still called Temasek? Right, so we are talking about not tens of years, not 100 years. We are talking about 1,000 over years. 3rd century, you know, in the ancient text where Temasek was first started written is in the 3rd century. That means 3rd century from now is 1,800 years ago. That's how long ago. So Temasek is already a trading hub, and people have to bypass from here and so forth. So yeah, volume very soft, still very soft. Don't care already lah. I already restarted the volume soft, then no choice already. So yeah, back in a good old days. So I want to explain about the we take this good week, this week, which is the celebration of Singapore birthday. We will talk about Singapore. Yeah, it's why not? It's the great time to talk about it. So then you see, if you ask the, let's say you ask the Indian nation, you ask Indian nation people, where is the best meridian in the world? The Indians will tell you, of course, it's India lah. The best spots are all in India. Then you say, hey, but then there's this Kunlun mountain range in China. Then they'll be saying, no, but that mountain with the Himalayan come to India. So India is the best. Okay, there's no wrong. But then if you go and ask the China people, okay, so where's the best mountain range? Of course, they'll tell you, wow, China, of course, Kunlun mountain range, and all the dragon come from Kunlun and come bypass the central plain and everything, right? So if you want to know about Singapore, you ask those people that understand Singapore. You don't ask people that you know, you ask foreigner, you ask an American, how is China? They'll tell you, I don't know what they're going to tell you. Yeah, so you don't do that. Get someone local or someone that really study and understand Singapore. Then they'll tell you the right thing, right? So today I want to take this opportunity to share not only Singapore, okay, of course I'll talk about Singapore, geographical, how the energy flows and meridian spots and so forth, okay, which is what I will talk about today. So yeah, and a bit of history. So if you are those, do like and share, share out, like and share out, and do, okay, for those of you that are the pioneer generation or the Merdeka generation, okay, that founded, you know, helped to build Singapore, yeah, come in, fall in, we will have a talk today. And do share out so that your Merdeka generation or pioneer generation can come in and we can talk about Singapore. You see, Singapore is a small little island. Then you will notice that Singapore is also an island. That means it's, there's a waterway that cuts through. So it's like you know, in ancient texts, it's actually stated that this southern dragon is a dragon. You know, Singapore is like the pearl of the dragon. The dragon head all the way come, and it's at, the dragon head is actually at Malaysia. Fantastic, the dragon head is at Malaysia. And then at the mouth of the dragon, there's this pearl that the Hanzhu, the Nanlong Hanzhu, okay, Nanlong Hanzhu, the Nan is Dongnan, the south is called Nan. So the Nanlong Hanzhu, Singapore is the pearl that the dragon is at the mouth of the dragon. So the dragon head is actually Malaysia. Very powerful, Hanzhu. Then so that's a very, very, very strong formation. You notice, the map is a bit too small to show you. Never mind, you can Google and use Google Map or what to see. Singapore, okay, that side is Malaysia coming down, the dragon, the pearl, and then you'll notice that there's a huge embracement. a global, not global, embracement that you need to zoom out a lot to see, because we are talking about the whole big land now, Singapore, the whole island. Okay, there's a huge Penang is the pearl. Based on the formation, the head is actually all the way at the tip. Okay, Penang is not. Penang is at the side, maybe the cheek, the cheek. Yeah. So the head, the end of the head, the most southern tip of the southern dragon is Singapore. Okay. We talk about Penang in a short while. Let's talk about Singapore. Then we talk about Malacca. Then we go upwards. Okay. So yeah, Monica, that's a Penang is also important. By the way, I born in Penang, so Penang is also very important, or else there's no me. So anyway, the dragon coming down, then we look at Singapore. Singapore is actually protected by a very powerful meridian, very powerful embracement. Okay, the whole embracement, if you notice, is actually like protecting the dragon head come down, dragon head, the pearl, and then there's a huge embracement. Okay, the embracement from Indonesia, then we have Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Borneo, that means Sabah, Sarawak. Okay, and then on top there's Philippines. That's this embracement. Okay, and then on the other side we have Indonesia all the way going up. So Indonesia is this side, and then all the way. So it's a huge embracement. And if you look at the embracement, okay, looking back at the dragon, the huge embracement, okay, is and then there's waterway crossing through. The whole thing is in a what do you call in a feng shui perspective, this whole thing, there's a name for it, Chinese name. So it's the huge embracement is what is the Chinese name? I should have penned it down so that easier for me to share. Anyway, you get what I mean? The whole, and then you know the 左青龙右白虎. 左 is this side, 青龙白虎. The if you look from Singapore perspective, okay, from the dragon, which is Malaysia, and then to Singapore, then you look out. The green dragon is the most powerful. Okay, the green dragon. The green dragon is where? From Singapore perspective, backing with Malaysia as the backing. Okay, that means from the southward looking, you'll notice that the strong 左青龙右白虎. 左青龙右白虎. 左青龙右 okay. The whole embracement. The strongest part. Dragon dive into the sea, then come back up. Yes. Joner. There is another. Where is the message? Someone was typing, disappeared already. There is this saying, there was a master that did writing about this, and then mentioned about the dragon dive and then come up. That's why Singapore is like because there's a straight diving. But I'm not saying that, I'm not going against all these masters. Okay, they have their own thinking. But I'm looking at the whole geographical manner. I'm more towards the pearl of the dragon pearl, because the straits is very too small. For the whole dragon to dive in and come up, typically we need to have space. So that means it's a bigger, like for example, you see Malacca, okay, Penang, the distance is 13 kilometers away. Singapore and Johor is 1.5 kilometers away. So for the dive in and come up is very far already. The dragon dive in come up. So I won't call it the 潜水龙. I will call it the 南龙含珠, which is the Singapore. But anyway, this is just a name formation. So I'm trying to tell you about the embracement. So that you look at the whole embracement, the 左青龙右白虎, 左青龙右白虎. The direction is every time very confusing. Yeah, correct. So when you look up from the dragon's perspective, when you look up, the green dragon is the most powerful. We have the whole Malaysia, Brunei is also there, and then all the way to Malaysia to Philippines. Yeah, Malaysia to Philippines. That is the whole embracement that protects. You notice that now we have a strong tsunami or whatsoever. All these are taken care of by all these countries. Yeah, the Philippines are taking that means it won't directly hit Singapore. Singapore is like the pearl in the center, protected. It's a seashell covering the pearl. Okay, so the pearl is right in the middle, and then the whole cover. And on the other side is the Indonesia. Okay, the whole Indonesia. The Indonesia is smaller. That means the tiger is slightly smaller. We have a very strong dragon formation. Okay, the Qinglong, the green dragon formation is very powerful. That's why a lot of wealth here. Then you look at the waterway. This waterway, I will have to tell you a bit about historical already, a bit history. So you see, for Singapore, today's topic a bit too big. I should have cut into multiple, or else very hard for me to focus. Green, yes, 左青龙右白虎. So the left from the perspective is always from the dragon. The dragon is the from south, from the southern dragon vein coming down. The perspective is from here. So the left side, the green dragon, is where the what do you call Philippines is. Philippines and Malaysia, the Borneo and Philippines. That's why that side is wealth, very strong wealth. And then the other side, which is Indonesia. Okay, that is the Yu Bai Hu, the white tiger. Okay, so let me go into when we talk about Singapore. So Singapore, do we have high mountains? We don't need because we are all about water wealth. Now, a lot of people will then say, but then what is there so much about Singapore? Now, facts. Do you know that Singapore, how many there are back in the good old days, okay, Singapore, now lesser already. Why I say the good old days? Because now lesser. Now it's all joined up already. Singapore used to have about 100 rivers. Okay, not a lot of people know. In fact, I don't think people know. But if you do a search, you will then understand. Singapore is fully covered by water. Okay, fully covered. The channels, the water channels, river channels covered the whole island. So it's like a very, very strong, powerful water formation. Okay, and water formation doesn't mean that there is no meridian spots. Okay, there are a lot of meridian spots in Singapore, but if let's say you only know how to look for meridian spots in mountain ranges, then you cannot find any in Singapore. Okay, because the highest mole is actually Bukit Timah. It's like a mole. Yeah, but there are 100 rivers. In fact, now after all the restructure and everything, we still have a hell lot. We have what is the numbers left? I think we have at least 30 over rivers, which or 20 over rivers. Yes, 20 over rivers. The last time I checked. Now I name a few. I can easily name more than 10. Of course, we have the Singapore River, we have the Kallang River. Then now there's this BTO at Rochor River. Okay, Rochor River, and then we have the famous Kallang River. Singapore River, Kallang River, then Rochor River, Geylang River, Geylang River. Then we have the Bedok River that links to the Bedok Reservoir, and then we have the other reservoir, Pandan River. Then we have Jurong River, then Sungai Api-Api, Punggol River, Serangoon River, 10 already. Then we have the Ulu Pandan River, we have which is called the Sungai Ulu Pandan. Then we have the Sungai Wangpo. Then we have Bukit Timah Canal, already converted. Then we have, a lot. Okay, so all these rivers, we now have at least 20 over rivers left. Okay, 20 over rivers. They cover the small, tiny island Singapore. Okay, so this is how powerful. The Singapore water formation is. It's all linked up. Now, then another thing is, do you know that okay, by the way, all this connection, the rivers in Singapore, I'm going to give you a very big number, which you might not believe. Okay, I also didn't believe. The rivers and canals in Singapore alone, all connected based on the length itself, covers more than 5,000 kilometers. There are more than 5,000 kilometers of river or canal. We don't talk about the small longkang, as in the small drain. We don't talk about the small drain, at least a bit of monsoon drain size. You know, the monsoon, Singapore, a lot of monsoon drain size. The monsoon drain size all add up together, including the river and so forth. Singapore got more than 5,000 kilometers of waterways. More than 5,000. That's how terrible, huge the amount is. And then, of course, when you talk about these are all how wealth flow. What about embracement? Embracement, we talk about reservoirs. Okay, how many reservoirs are there in Singapore? Anybody? You need to quickly type in because there's a delay in the messages. So how many reservoirs? Y'all will be amazed, really amazed. Okay, there are 17 reservoirs in Singapore. Can you believe that? 17. Okay, 17 reservoirs in Singapore alone. Such a small, tiny red dot. Okay, 17 reservoirs. Let's do a quick count. I don't know if I can finish all the 17 or not, but let's do a quick count. We have the Marina Reservoir, Punggol Seletar Reservoir, Bedok Reservoir, MacRitchie Reservoir, Lower Pierce Reservoir, Upper Pierce Reservoir. How many already? Marina Reservoir, which is the very famous one where all the performance is. Punggol Serangoon Reservoir, Bedok Reservoir, MacRitchie, Lower Pierce, Upper Pierce, Upper Seletar, Lower Seletar, Bedok Reservoir, Kranji Reservoir, 10 already. Then Pandan Reservoir, Jurong Lake Reservoir, Sarimbun Reservoir, which is inside the camp. Okay, you might not heard about it, but Tengah Reservoir, you should hear about it. Murai Reservoir, which is also inside the camp. So this is serving the army. Then we have Poyang Reservoir, Punggol Reservoir, Serangoon Reservoir, Yishun Pond Reservoir. Yeah, 17 already. So you see, Singapore alone, 17 reservoir. Yeah, that's how much water there is in Singapore. Okay, so not a lot of people actually understand Singapore. Okay, you should, if you really deep dive, there is, when we talk about reservoir, there will always be reservoir and when we talk about reservoir and rivers, reservoir and rivers, there's this very powerful movement and interaction of qi. So there's always a qi mouth, incoming, outgoing, and then there's a lot of all this energy embracement and the key meridians. The key meridians of Singapore, you need to start from the water. Okay, from the water, then you can understand how where are the meridian spots. How many of y'all just type me have over here, which is still over here, have joined me for my previous morning walk? Okay, I did one morning walk, which I will be talking about it based on the map of Singapore. I'll do a bit of sharing. I'll just share one very powerful meridian spot, maybe two today. I'll share two very powerful meridian spots of Singapore, just to make sure that I'm not joking. You guys really know that there is so many meridian spots in Singapore. Okay, for those that have joined, yeah, Joseph is there. I remember we did the manifestation. I remember I was turning around and I saw Joseph's closing eye doing the manifest. Yeah. So Joseph can share that day the meridian spot. So the Singapore map again. Okay, Singapore, the most powerful, of course, we have the longest river of all in Singapore is actually the Kallang River. Kallang River actually from here, Kallang River. Wait, can y'all see? Can Okay, so Kallang River from here. This is if I remember correctly, 11 kilometers long. 11 kilometers. The river is 11 kilometers. So from here all the way and ends about here, where the MacRitchie Reservoir is. That's where the ending. Okay, so over here, that means what? Because water, when we look at water, what do you call waterway? Waterway, we always start from the catchment out to the sea. That's the direction. So that means the most powerful river in Singapore, the longest and the most powerful river, actually started from MacRitchie. Right? So that means what? That means MacRitchie Reservoir, there's a chi mouth. Okay, that chi mouth is a meridian spot. You see, today it's a very important, I'm sharing to the whole world. Next time people will be taking my video and doing a Singapore tour. Okay, so then from there, there's a chi mouth. Those that I did my previous, the early morning walk, I actually bring them to this powerful chi mouth. And then the right time, right place, people feel it. And there's some very good response. Yeah, so this is where one of the very powerful meridian spot is. Okay, now let's talk. I will give you another meridian spot. Okay, first of all, before we finish here, you notice on top at the northern side, we also have the Seletar, the Sungai Seletar coming in. The Sungai Seletar from here, can see from here the top coming in is also a very, very big river. Of course, there will be meridian spot. So now you see from the river, we have the entrance. There's two places that actually one good river will have two meridian, very powerful meridian. One is at the starting point, the other one is at ending point. Okay, so for example, the outside here, there's the Kallang River exit into the sea. That is also a very strong point. Okay, so there's two meridian already. Then on the other side, the Seletar coming in. Seletar, the incoming is there's this island. What do you call? What is the name of the island? Can somebody give me the? You can go there cycle. That island called what? It's at the Pongo. That island called what island? You can go there cycle on. What island is that called? That is the starting point of this Seletar River, Sungai Seletar. Okay, so that is one meridian spot there, and then it comes in all the way into, of course, the Sungai Seletar will come. Coney Island, yes, thank you, Desmond. Coney Island. So Coney Island, there's actually a very powerful chi mouth there. Okay, and then that is also a good place for manifestation. Okay, and then coming in this Sungai Seletar end where? Of course, at Seletar Reservoir. So Seletar Reservoir also have a meridian spot, very powerful meridian spot. Okay, yeah. So you see, this I only share these 4 meridian spots. I swear 4. I was about to share 2, but now ended 4 already. So now 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 meridian already. I share. So these are the water meridian. Actually, water meridian, wealth, connectivity. That's where you feel Singapore, wealth and well connected. Okay, wealth and connectivity is all about the water dragon. Okay, so at the right time, right place, at the right timing, choose the right time. Go to all these meridian places. Find the right area. You can follow me when I plan my next free walk around. Okay, Singapore. Okay, then you can join me. I will show you. So anyway, so these are, and then you notice what does this tool shows you? Actually, you notice over here there's this this side coming down and then this side going up. What does it form? It actually formed a perfect yin-yang fish. The what do you call the fish? The Tao fish. You know, like that. Wow, quite nice, actually. Wow, like that. My hand cannot turn already, like that. Yeah, it forms from here, come in, from here, go in. So there is then you see the two reservoir, the Seletar Reservoir and the Seletar Reservoir actually somehow joined to the Pierce Reservoir also. And then from here, the MacRitchie, you see a very big tau there. That's the heart of Singapore. Okay, so when you tell me there's no meridian in Singapore, come on, what crap is that? It's like you ask you should ask somebody that knows Singapore well. Okay, when you want to talk about walking in Singapore, find all these spots, the right time, how to find all these places, you know who is the Tai Chi? Yes, Tai Chi. Who is the right person to look for? Yeah. So please share this video out, like and share, and then follow me. Okay, I haven't finished yet. There's still today a lot of content, so it's going to end late. Okay, so I talked about what already? Okay. Then I want to also share a bit in depth into how Singapore prosper. Anyway, a bit of history. But before I just suddenly remember, before we leave this thing, you know, in with all this, I'm talking about today. Back in the good old days, of course, there's lots of forests in Singapore. But now, today, people will be thinking, but Singapore is already not enough land, so congested and what is the word? So dense. Yes, it's so high density, so dense, so many population, so many people, such a small island. But in actual fact, today, currently, we still have 2/3 of Singapore, which means more than 65% of Singapore still as a water catchment. Okay, water catchment. What does water catchment means? Water catchments means forests that attract the rain, okay, and then reservoir that contain the water. Okay, and if you see this whole ecosystem, it's actually catching chi, the energy, the wealth and connectivity energy of Singapore. Okay, you can check. You thought that Singapore is already very 饱和叫什么？饱和 very dense. What is the word 饱和? Means it's already at its bottleneck, you know. But actually, still more than 65% is water catchment. Forest and reservoir, still water catchment. So you see how powerful Singapore is because of the water channels. The meridian spot is no longer looking at mountain. We are looking at water meridian. Okay, water, wealth meridian, connectivity. Okay, so this one I bring you saturated. Yes, thank you, Herman. Saturated. You thought that Singapore is saturated, but actually no. Still 2/3 of Singapore under the NPark statistics. NPark National Park Statistics of Singapore. National Parks of Singapore statistics. 2/3 of Singapore is still water catchment. That means it's still the chi containment. Okay, very powerful. Now, if we look into a bigger China, okay, we look into China, a bigger place. Of course, we talk about the dragons and all these very powerful meridians. Are there water meridians in China? There are a lot. Okay, there are also a lot. So then I share with you the historical of if you don't believe me, if you don't believe what I say, let me share a bit of historical evidence of Singapore. Okay, historical evidence of Singapore and how all this come about. Let me open my. I cannot remember so many things. So this one I have a bit of typing. Okay, just like I mentioned already, Temasek. This word Temasek in historical books started all the way in the 3rd century. Was it century? You call it century? Yeah, the 3rd century. 3rd century from now is 1,800 years ago. It's already a trading port. A trading port because why? You see, we know about the Silk Road. We know about the trading route. Okay, which started from Fujian, which is where I'm going to bring you. Okay, come back here. So the trading route, the most narrowest part in the whole trading route is Singapore. Okay, the most narrow. So in feng shui, we learn about what? We learn about when we. Let's don't talk about feng shui first. Let's talk about science. Okay, velocity. So I share a bit. Actually, did Singapore just suddenly become good? No, it didn't. Okay, started from 1,800 years ago. Singapore, when it's first known as Temasek. Okay, it's already in the history books. Okay, that of the good location because the just now I talk about the Silk Road. Back in the 3rd century, it's still not called Silk Road. Okay, it's not called 丝绸之路 back then. The 丝绸之路 only started on the 13th, 14th century. Okay, then we started call it the Silk Road. Okay, back then it's dot, but then the all the trading and everything because of its location, the waterway, the narrow. We talk about velocity, about science. Then you know that from very big wide ocean coming in to a narrow. That means this is a bottleneck. Bottleneck. The name itself, you already know. Bottleneck means what? Means very important. Okay, no choice, but you have to go through there. Singapore is at this location. It's the bottleneck of the whole, the most narrowest part in the whole trading journey. Okay, so already Temasek is already known back then. Then we talk about Malacca just now, right? Malacca. Let me share a bit of Malacca with you. So then so that was the initial 3rd century initial written. Okay, so that means back in the good old days already have people already know Singapore very the geographical location, well protected. Just now I talked about the green dragon, white tiger protecting, and then the narrowest. It's linking the two most important Asian seas, which is the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea. Okay, so in order to go Europe or Americas, you have to pass by this Singapore. Okay, so it's in terms of if you look into a feng shui perspective, feng shui normally talk smaller. Now I talk about bigger. Okay, that's why Singapore, the river and so forth. If you treat the whole thing as qi flow, that means the qi, very bottleneck, all squeeze, very powerful qi is here and then go out. And then all the activity, the traffic have to pass by here. In fact, the Straits of Malacca, which the most narrow in Singapore, used to be covered by pirates. Why? Because they know that the most powerful energy is here. Yeah, so they are here to rob people because the most powerful wealth is here. Okay, so then come the 14th century, which is 13 something. Okay, 13 something which is about 100 and 1000. 13th century is how? Let me see. Oh, it's about 1,000 years ago. About 800 years ago. So about 800 years ago, that's where we started to call it the Silk Road. Okay, so now Silk Road become very important, and Singapore very important port, because for China, Silk Road started from China, by the way. From China to go all the way to India, to Europe and all this and coming back, Singapore is the most narrowest. So it become a very key important spot. The chi is very good, a lot of activity. Okay, so you say Singapore got no meridian, how can that be? And because of the water channels and everything is very Singapore is very fertile. Yes, there's a fertile. I think, yeah, fertile can be a good word. So it's very fertile, not only on the soil, but on the people, on the wealth, on cargo, on goods and everything. Very fertile. That's why a lot of pirates and all this will want to be here. Then in the 13th, 14th century, that's where Malacca started. But why Malacca? How did Malacca started? Any Malaccas here? Hi, Ian. How are you? Yeah, we're going to catch up soon. So you all know the history of Malacca. Let's talk a bit of Malacca. Malacca, when we talk about Malacca, we know that originally there's no Malacca. Then a very key person called, I think I have the name, Paramaswara. Yeah, this prince called Paramaswara founded Malacca. What does it mean? That means originally there's no Malacca, no people, no kampong also. Then he reached this place. Then I think this is a good place. Let's settle here and build my population here. So he founded Malacca. Prince Paramaswara. Okay, but you go and Google where did this guy came from? Where is the father come from? Okay, because he is called the Prince Paramaswara. Prince That means the kingdom, the original kingdom must be the father, right? The father is the original king. Okay, then he is a prince. He go to Malacca and founded Malacca, started Malacca and be the king there. Right? So where he originated from Singapore. His father is in Singapore. Back then it's not called Singapore. Back then it's called Temasek. Okay, so actually the father, that means Paramaswara, grew up in Singapore. Back then called Temasek. Okay, then he actually fled. That means there was a huge fight. I think the brotherhood fight. I don't know about this part. I didn't really deep dive, but you can easily Google nowadays. Information is everywhere. So he used to be from Temasek, which is Singapore. Okay, because a lot of business, a lot of wealth trading and everything is here. Okay, then there was a huge fight and so forth. He was being pressured to run. So he fled. He jumped onto some boat's ship or whatsoever, and then he started to sail away. And then finally, he want to still stay in this straits because very wealthy. So then he stopped at Malacca. Back then it's not called Malacca, but he named it Malacca. I don't know he named it or original is really there. But anyway, so he settled and he founded Malacca and started Malacca. Then because he brought over all the, back then, Temasek is already very saturated because there's only the Singapore River area, very saturated and so forth. And then he want to catch the, that means if let's say wealth is coming this direction. So what I'm going to do, I go in front a bit and then put my gantry there. That's what he want to do. If this direction is so wealthy, I go in front, I put a gantry, voila. Okay, it's either in front or behind. Basically, it's either this side or this side. But this side is a bit difficult because this side, it goes out to the South China Sea. South China Sea, then we have all the way to Philippines. Okay, the Borneo, Malaysia, and then Philippines. So it's South China Sea, very big area, very hard to have a tight security and then the bottleneck, create the bottleneck effect. So he went upstream, which is Straits of Malacca, and then settled there. So together with him, he brought most of the army. back then the Malay army. So then he started, and eventually he conquered and blah blah blah, and then eventually the whole straits is called Straits of Malacca, became bigger. There's no name called Straits of Temasek, but then there's a Straits of Malacca. Yeah, because he bring the whole fleet there. So anyway, give rise to Malacca. And then yeah, so he run from Temasek, Singapore, to Malacca and founded Malacca. Now, when we talk about Malaysia, Malacca is part of Malaysia already. When we talk about this peninsula, that means the dragon head. Wow, I started at about 10 now, 1 hour already. Okay, when we talk about this dragon head, the southern dragon head, am I too, how many people are still watching now? Viewers for, okay, still good. I thought I'm talking to myself already. Interesting, do I continue? I think another half an hour. You guys are still following? Then we talk about in the 14th century, which is 13 something. There is a lot of foreign labor, slaves actually, slaves. Okay, coming from where? The slaves actually come mostly from China. Okay, Fujian. That's why in this part there's so many Hokkien. Okay, in Singapore lots of Hokkien. The reason is because Hokkien is where the start of the Silk Road. When the start of Silk Road, that means the ships will start sailing from there. So when they need labor, they go and get all the labor. It's all from where? Fujian. So okay, a lot of hard labor come from Fujian. So the British back then, yeah, it's the British. I'm not biased but I'm just telling facts. So the British wanted more labor, and then the upstream that is keep on coming in because you know the Silk Road from there come down, pass through and go ma. So the starting point is always from Fujian. So what they did was they need a lot of labor. Why? Because back then Malaysia is very powerful in what? Y'all know? Malaysia is not palm oil. Back then it's not palm oil. Back then it's mining, tin mining. Okay, in Selangor, there are huge tin mines. They found tin in Malaysia, central of Malaysia. Okay, which is Selangor area. That's why we have the Royal Selangor, Pewter, tin, and so forth. So a lot of tin mining. So they need a lot of hard labor. And then what happened? That was the 13th century. About 900 years ago. So what happened was they need hard labor. So they went to Fujian and start to recruit. Wow, we go there and dig gold. But actually it's not gold, it's tin. Okay, 去挖金山银山. Okay, so wow, dig gold, wow, gather a lot of people. And then all these people got onto the boats, the ships, not knowing that they are being sold as slaves. Okay, so what happened? They all get into the boat. And then it was very poor condition, the boat. And you know, to set sail from Fujian to Temasek, okay, takes about 20 to 30 days. Back then they sit in those called junks. They are really called junks. Okay, so they sit in the junks and then they have to come. So in this 20-30 days, because of hygiene issue and all crammed together and not enough food and there's lots of virus and so forth, people die. And a lot of people vomit and couldn't take the South China Sea roughness and so forth. A lot of people die. So that's how our ancestors come by. So that all started from the 13th century. So yeah, so a lot of China immigrant come, and then they came here. They become what? They became slaves, because before they come up, because they leave Fujian, they already signed the treaty. They signed the letter that sell themselves away. So they come as slaves. Only when they touch down already, then they know. So where did all the slaves touch down? They touched down in Singapore. The trading started in Singapore. So they touched on, some of them touched on Singapore already, then they signed the sell themselves away slave contract. Some sign in Singapore, some sign in before they get up the boat. So those that still survive didn't die in Singapore, then they sign. Then they get into lorries and being transported to Selangor. And then all the mining is controlled by the British. So then they are forced to do mining. So let's talk about the slaves. Then so all these Chinese people from China, they are all slaves. Then how did they finally release? And then they can start to go into Malaysia and come to Singapore. How did all this releasing? You know, back then Singapore, the Singapore River, a lot of coolies, a lot of laborers also, all from China. So how did all this release out? Is actually thanks to technology. Can you believe it? Thanks to technology. And this technology is called hydraulic. Okay, hydraulic. And it all this started in the 14th century. Was it 14th century? Oh no, it's 1833. Yeah, the actual year now we pass 14th century. We go into the British arrival. The British arrival then cut all the slaves. The reason is because when British arrive, you know Sir Stamford Raffles, right? Sir Stamford Raffles arrived in Singapore in 1819, right? This one Singapore history people will know. 1819. That is the 18th century. Okay, in 18th century, suddenly all the Chinese is being released, and a lot of them in Singapore finally no longer slaves. They are being released. Why? Thanks to hydraulic. You'll be thinking, why hydraulic? Okay, the reason is because when the what do you call, the British The British, when they come over here, they bring along machineries. So they want to sell their invention, which is hydraulic. Okay, they want to sell their invention into Asia. Okay, so they start to have all this machinery and so forth. And the biggest target audience for them is where? Is miners, mining, which is in Selangor. Okay, in Selangor, the tin, prutter mining, mineral mining, and so forth. Originally, it's all hard labor. That means all the Chinese coolies, they are, the slaves, they are all signed already the letter, give up themselves, so they can only do hard labor mining. So in 1833, 1833, that's I think it's 183, I still remember. This one I got no notes on, I just remember. A lot of things here. So okay, 1833, that guy's name is called King George. Okay? King George decided, because they want to sell the machinery to the mining, Malaysia, back then Malaysia is all about mining. They want to sell machinery into mining, but the bosses don't want to buy. Why? I got so many labor to do mining. Why do I need to buy machineries? Get the labor to do mining. So all these complaints back all the way to British, to the king. So King George came up with a brilliant idea. I don't know if King George, whoever tell him to do so, but I don't have his number to call him to ask. So yeah, King George decided to call off the slavery, to put his leg down on slavery. No more slavery. So the law was passed down in 1833. So once this law passed down, what happened? All the miners back then, all the mining coolies, and all the coolies at Singapore, Temasek port, doing all this work are all from China. That's where all the Chinese are suddenly released. Okay, so these two key locations. One is in Selangor, where the mines are. The other one is in Singapore, where all the storage cargoes are. Because at the port, we need a lot of storage, a lot of people to carry all the tin import export basically not import export. All the export of the tin and everything is all traveling from Selangor to Singapore, back then called Temasek, and then from here take ship to go out. Okay, so these two important important location where all the coolie is. So in 1833, suddenly all released. Suddenly all the not Singaporean, all the Chinese flood the whole place, and most of them are Fujian. Okay, especially in Singapore, because the port is where the business and all the trading and so forth. Chinese, they very business minded. So end of the day, they ditch and also they have been doing all the hard work in Selangor. Of course, they want to run away. So back then in the Selangor is all mines. There's no activity there. So what they do, they all run to Singapore, Temasek, where the trading is. Okay, and then that's how they founded Singapore and grow. Okay, so that's how the story. A bit too far already. And then the booming after the Chinese being released, and then most of them are gathered in Singapore. That's where trading start to get more and more powerful, because the tin trading still need to go on. Although the mines is being replaced by British hydraulic machineries, but the carrying and trading and everything still need. So all of them flood to Temasek, and then the port become very popular. And then because of the feng shui, the location, everything, the energy flow, that's why Singapore boom. That's how Singapore success started. In fact, all the way since 1,800 over years ago in history, stated 1,800 over years ago in the 3rd century. Yeah, that's the history. A bit too long. Did I miss anything? I think more or less I covered the whole thing already. Okay, so basically what I shared today, I do a recap because it's really too long. I do a recap. First of all, I talk about the energy from the world. Then I talk about Singapore. I think I read somebody commented about the diving dragon. Yes, there was, I think, 1 or 2 recent masters that means still alive. Yeah, I think both of them are still alive. That wrote about this. So they called the Qian Shui Long, the diving dragon. Different master will have different naming for it. I don't call it a Qian Shui Long. Okay, I call it the Nan Long Han Zhu, or Nan Long Tu Zhu. Basically, it's from the mouth. Okay, the southern tip. Okay, so it's the pearl. Yeah, because the formation looks like that. More the formation, if you study the classics, you notice that the formation looks more like it's Han Zhu or Tu Zhu rather than the diving dragon. Because for the diving dragon, you need to have certain distance. Normally it's a faraway island. Then it's called the diving formation. That means you have a very you have a water cut off. You notice that the Johor state of Johor is actually very shallow only. Yeah, it's less than a kilometer deep. Yeah, and it's only 1.5 kilometer apart. Yeah, so it's the Hanzhou formation. Okay, based on my references. Then and also I talk about the embracement, the green dragon, white tiger embracement. That's why it gives so powerful. And then I talk about the internal. the internal of Singapore, the meridians and so forth. Yeah, that's about it for today. Any questions? A lot of sharing already. Few things that I want to talk about. A few things I want to highlight before I go. First, I will, if I have a bit of free time, maybe after the ghost month, the Chinese ghost month, the lunar ghost month, or whatever you call it, okay, I will do a few walks in Singapore to show you more real meridian spots in Singapore. Just like I already explained for, okay, so yeah, you can cover one of those. I already brought my first free walk around to a very powerful spot in the Tai Chi, in the center of the Tai Chi. Okay, so yeah, we can go a few more. I am here to tell you guys that Singapore, lots of meridian spots. Okay, just that those people that say Singapore no meridian spot, they don't know what they're talking. Because if you only know meridian spot in a mountain form, then yeah, there's no meridian spot in Singapore. Okay, very narrow-minded. You only know one type. Okay, so there are a lot of different types. Singapore definitely have very powerful meridians. That's why Singapore is so successful. It's wealth here, and there's connectivity, there's communication. Yeah, you can find all these things here in Singapore, right? If you agree, type agree. Yeah, I see how many of you agree. For those that missed the very interesting part in front, you can watch my replay, which will stay here for another 30 days before Facebook will remove it. Okay. Like I said just now, I talked a lot about how the energy flow in the world, and in the end, how Singapore, the historical, the geographical location, the green dragon, white tiger embracement, the dragon, the Nanlong Tuzhu or Nanlong Hanzhu, whatever you call it, which is Singapore. And then a bit about history, a bit about Singapore, and share a few meridians and how to find meridian in Singapore. Just like I mentioned, 2/3 of Singapore is water catchment. Water catchment is 2/3 of Singapore. And then there are 17 reservoirs. So you see how powerful Singapore is. All right, that's about it. 17 reservoirs. How many of y'all know? Just like I named all the 17 already, by the way. I'm not joking. All right. That's about it. Bye, guys. See you next week. Same time, same channel. Goodbye. Bye.